the strings always right, aren't they? It's always the childhood that fucks you up.
Yeah, I used to be a sensitive child. My mum still wonders what happened to her little boy. My daddy happened, mum. And I appreciate that you tried to meet my emotional needs, but it didn't matter because he would beat them right out of me anyways. As the second youngest child in a big family, you tend to remain a bit unseen. Unless it's time to get your ass whooped. My father wasn't particularly a sophisticated man, but he had an affinity for inventing the most twisted ways to hurt me. His favourite trick involved sitting at the dinner table. He always waited until I had a fork in my mouth, and then he'd strike. But that's it. A bit of a beating, a few cans of beer each night, no drugs or heavy abuse. I had both my parents. Well, at least they were there physically. There was food on the table and a roof over my head. But I can't seem to shake the feeling that the wound I've carried around with me wasn't really caused by the negative experiences I had to endure during my childhood. The wound is there because the good things that could have happened never did. Suddenly, I was looking at the world through a frosty glass. Every morning my body leaves the bed, but my soul stays in it. I sleep, but I never feel rested. I take a shower, but I never feel clean. I eat, but I'm never satisfied. I work, but I'm never fulfilled. I make love, but I never feel it.
You've got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head that's sitting firmly on your shoulders. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I angrily ask myself, before everyone else inevitably will. Their voices tinted with multiple shades of disappointment. The cacophony whispers of those who have it worse haunts me every day. The terminally ill, the armless and the legless, the old and the crippled, the orphans and the ones who lost everything in a fire, the hungry and the poor, the blind and the homeless. Compared to this, my life feels relatively normal. I don't deserve the passport that would make me a legitimate citizen of the land of misfortune. Everyone has bad days, I hear while my friend pats me on my back. It takes all I got to not tell him that my bad days have lasted for the past 7 years. So I told him I was okay when I wasn't. And as weeks stretch into months and then into years, I convinced myself that I was in fact okay. Think happy thoughts. Another comment I hear daily. Like telling someone deaf to listen harder. I continue to function and work, but the plastic wrap that encases all this garbage inside me was so thin that I knew it was about to split open.
Do you know why men don't talk about their mental health? I'll tell you why. It's because no one ever listens.
I mean, not really. This issue entails conversations that are so heavily politicized and uncomfortable that people don't want to face them. People just roll their eyes whenever a man wants to vent about his struggles. And many of these attempts are very often shot down and seen as an annoying distraction from the topics that are truly worth discussing. I don't think people actually realise they're doing it. And fair enough, to say that women have had it tough for hundreds of years would be an understatement. But reframing men's suffering into how women have it worse seems to be a knee-jerk reaction these days. All this leads to is socially coerced silence, which leads to loneliness. Men are placed in an impossible double standard. Open up or you'll be shamed. But if you open up, you'll be shamed. A man isn't expected to talk about his problems. He's expected to overcome them. And so we make fun of our misery in an attempt of not looking weak. It's not that I can't confide in people or that I can't show vulnerability. It's that the meager benefit of talking about this is vastly outweighed by the enormous problem of people using it against me. I choose not to talk about my emotions purely out of self-preservation. You can only hit a dog so many times before it wants to stop being touched. And I know that there are people out there who appreciate men's vulnerability, but so many of them try to fix our wounds with cliche soap band-aids instead of just sitting there and listening. I feel so fucking invisible, man.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was fucking exhausting. That relationship consumed my time, energy, patience and compassion. I gave it everything and I still felt helpless every time I tried to pick the lock to his mind. He would just push me away and he said I would be better off without him. It felt like I was desperately trying to reach a loved one trapped beneath the surface of a frozen lake. And with each passing moment, their chances of survival were diminishing. And while I've been trying to break the ice, I forgot to take care of myself. I have this affliction that makes me want to fix everyone. I always forget I need to give people space to heal instead of trying to do the healing for them. His words were very often cut like a knife, but I blamed it all on depression and I just kept soldiering through. Still, every spiteful sentence coming out of his mouth would add a grain of sand to an already heavy bag that I had been carrying. I appreciate he must have had his reasons to act the way he did, but fuck! The things he said were so fucking awful. But of course, I still feel guilty for not being there whenever he needed me. I know it can be difficult to open up, but I wish he would have just chosen to be embarrassed for a few minutes instead of doing what he did. I me to just sit there and massage his feet. I'm getting better, he'd say. I'm not sure if he knew right then and there that he'd be gone within 24 hours.
I remember the day that everything changed. March 5th. The shy voice inside my head stopped saying, I don't want to live, and it moved on to, I want to die. It's not easy, dying. A lot of time has to pass before death itself materializes. That thought is like a snowball. In the very beginning, you can pick it up, play with it, and then choose to throw it at a tree and watch it disappear. But if you let it roll down the hill and let it gain momentum, it becomes too large and too fast to be stopped. So you scream and wave your arms like a lunatic at the person standing at the bottom of the mountain. Please stop it. Please save me. But all you hear in return is people who actually want to kill themselves don't talk about it and just do it. Yeah. Fair enough.
Found myself hanging over a bed of roses. Tie myself up with hair. Long ligature wrapped thick and holding. Fell with my shoulders bare. Hanging over a bed of roses. Tie myself up with hair. Long ligature wrapped thick and holding. Fell with my shoulders bare.